arrested them for buggery, that it all sort of came out. And as soon as it came out, as Carol has said, it soon was called the scandal of the century, because all around London were swirling these rumours about their connection to people higher in society and the nobility. And so this is just the start before things go horribly wrong, and it will give you an idea of what this book is. It is about a gay trial, but it's about so much more as well. And my heroine will just introduce you. My name is Mattie Stacey, and my mother runs a lodging house in Wakefield Street near King's Cross. And I was that angry at everything that happened about Freddie and Ernest. That's why I stayed awake in my room after the others had gone to bed, sitting at my long work table next to Hortense and just writing everything down. Oh, Hortense is a plaster head. Ma got it from a theatre long ago, and I painted red lips and big dark eyes on her, and we chat. But really, she's for trying hats on when I'm making them. If your house got rude words written on it and people yelled whore at you in the street, and if your address was published in the newspapers and called a bordello and the seedy headquarters of criminal activity and other lies, wouldn't you pick up a pen and dip it in the ink and write what you know happened? Of course, all the other people we found was involved. They didn't get their houses writ on, did they? No one wrote on the grand houses, did they? And it's true that my heart was caught up, and I know that part's stupid, and you'll think I'm stupid. Well, it just can't be helped. You can't always tell your heart what to do. The sharp, brisk sound of a door knocker echoed through the house in Wakefield Street near King's Cross, London. A young woman opened the door. An elegant, top-hatted gentleman stood there. Behind him she could see a carriage, shadowed in the crisp darkness of the chill February evening, and the lights of the rattling passing carts and cabriolets. Yelling street voices blasted in, and she heard the bells on several of the nearby churches tolling the hour of 10, not necessarily in unison. The young woman smiled at the visitor, and when he'd haughtily stated his business, she called loudly up the stairs, "Ernest! Freddie! A carriage is here, and a gentleman!" "We shan't be long," a man's voice shouted down. "Shall I send the gentleman up?" "No, no, Matties." "Certainly not." Loud laughter. "Advise him we shall be down in a moment." The top-hatted gentleman at the front door felt in his waistcoat pocket for a cigar, and the young woman saw him glance, amusedly, dismissively, at the hallway and the narrow staircase, although everything was impeccably clean and tidy, and there were flowers on a polished table by the door. "I would prefer to wait outside," he said. Then running footsteps and laughter exploded from above, and perfume and powder swirled down as excitedly with Ernest Bolton and Frederick Park. The flattering light of the lamps caught them softly, petticoats rustled, silken tulle and satin shimmered, corsets held, chignons towered upwards, bracelets tinkled. Ernest came first, in a low-cut white gown decorated all over with pink roses. Pink roses, too, in the fair chignon and wig. Freddie was in blue with a train, with a bright red shawl around his shoulders and a red feather decorating his flaxen hairpieces. The landlady, Mrs. Isabella Stacey, appeared from the basement. "Oh, my heavens, look at you, Ernest. You look fit for a royal ballroom. You could dance with the Prince of Wales himself. Oh, but there's 2 hooks broken. You can't go out like that." And Mrs. Stacey took a needle and cotton from her apron and sewed Ernest together. And her daughter Mattie smoothed Freddie's red shawl over the blue gown, and she smiled and she said, "You look lovely, Freddie." Freddie put his hand up to her cheek in a brief thank you, and her face lit up with a bigger, warmer, beautiful smile, even as he then put his hand to his own cheek in the manner of a coquette, and laughed. "Are you performing tonight?" said Mrs. Stacey. Freddie shimmered and quivered, unable to keep still. "Ernest has been prevailed upon to sing, Mrs. Stacey, and it is indeed a ball, although not a royal one, at Mr. Porterbury's hotel by the Strand." "But I do assure you, my dears," said Ernest, as he pulled up his elegant gloves, and his eyes glittered in the lamplight and fumes of gin mingled with strong perfume, "that unlike that wearisome little martyr Cinderella, our fairy tale shall not end by midnight, nor in a pumpkin." And both men were laughing, and the perfume and powder swirled again, and then they were gone, disappearing into the night in a fever of anticipation and excitement and some other thing. A frisson? Daring? Hazard? Danger? Something. Mr. Amos Westrop Gibbings, a very wealthy young gentleman of independent means, had hired for this particular private soiree the whole first floor, that is a large central room with much smaller rooms leading off it, of Porterbury's Hotel in Wellington Street, just off the Strand. And now tonight, a clock in the distance striking 10, he waited at the top of the first floor staircase with Mr. Porterbury, the proprietor, almost as if they were a couple, for although Mr. Porterbury of Porterbury Hotel was attired in his best gentleman's evening wear, Mr. Amos Westrop Gibbings was dressed in a mauve gown and pearls. There were fires burning for warmth. Everything looked beautiful, and the musicians played. Large baskets of flowers scented the already heady room. Straight-backed gilt chairs lined the wall, as was the custom at society soirees. Pastilles stood on breath-enhancing pastilles stood on small tables, bowls of fruit and little platters, and the chandeliers threw soft shadows across the room, embracing the visitors with that warm, flattering glow.